So thank you for joining me, Chris. And I'll let you just say,
Sure.
your little 5-second elevator,
Yeah.
who you are, what you do.
Yeah. I'm Chris Jackson from C&M Carting Solutions. We do junk removal, cleanouts, dumpster rentals, little light demo, everything that pretty much involves garbage. The whole idea is we're efficient. We recycle, repurpose before anything goes to a landfill. That's our thing.
I love it. Our industries coincide a lot
Absolutely.
because I actually had a deal that it wasn't going to blow up. It was just going to cost the sellers money. They thought they could leave the couch in the basement. It's always the basement couch.
Always.
You never know how it got in there.
Right. And it never seems to fit out the door. Ever.
So I have partners actually out of Watertown, and meaning referral partners. That's what I meant. And I called him in a panic, and he does. I don't know if you're familiar, Steve Barone. He does cleanouts, but also has like a brick and mortar where he will resell.
That's a great way to do it with the resell.
Yep.
I don't have a brick and mortar yet.
Yep.
What I do is I partner up with a lot of consignment shops.
Yeah, that's a great way.
Or I donate a lot.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not bringing it home, my wife tends to be happy.
I could only imagine.
I find a lot of cool stuff.
Well,
I do.
I'm sure that there has to be some.
Yes.
Yes. But this is real, and then she'll. Oh, okay.
Exactly. It was a lot harder to do when I started out, because I came across all this cool stuff, and it was just. But
Yeah.
The more I do this, the more houses I see, the more places I clean out. I realize, I can't bring stuff home.
Yeah.
Because I'll be next.
I was gonna say you're gonna be your own client, and
that's right.
We all have.
Yes.
Myself included, and we are. I tell people that I am not a shopper, as many. I hate to stereotype, but many females are, and I don't like it. Right. There's friends who are like, "Do you want to go to TJ Maxx?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not. That sounds horrible to me." 0%. But when Dave and I moved into the house we live in now, I have never bought myself a whisk. We had 3 whisks. And I'm not like a professional baker by any means. Like
just the stuff comes out of nowhere.
I don't know how it got there.
Right.
It's incredible.
And that's the big thing. You never realize what you have or how much you have until you have to move the stuff. And I was telling Dave, I'm like, that's how I got into this, because when we sold our house in New Milford to move up this way, there was just all this extra stuff that we didn't want to take. And what do you do with it?
What do you do with it? And in that deal I was referring to, it's at that point, as you, I'm sure, have been involved with as well, it's either a seller credit at that point, or you figure it out and get it out.
Right.
And usually the getting out is the cheaper of those options.
Right.
Because you have to compensate, typically, depends on the deal, the seller for their time. Right. Of figuring it out too, right? And so in order to avoid that on day of closing and potentially avoid closing,
right?
Because if you don't figure out an issue,
it can delay everything.
It could delay everything. And depending on, there are some people with mortgage contingency dates,
right,
that are almost up.
Yeah.
So guess what? You better call a person like you and your business, which you could help with that.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure, help with stuff like that.
We do them all the time. We do them pre-sale as well.
Yes.
We come in, you kind of, what you don't want, we sweep through. We leave the furniture and stuff that they want for staging purposes, so the house isn't empty, because it's easier for someone to envision a house in the space with stuff there.
Are you like in my job? I feel like that's exactly what I say all the time. I need to have you on the phone.
You know what it is? I do this so often with different agents.
Yeah.
And, it's really helped with them, because now this person doesn't have to worry about it all up front. If the person wants stuff, they can buy it with the house. And then whatever they don't want, I can come in, I'll sweep through at the end and empty the house out for them. So it's a fresh slate. And they have to do nothing.
And that's the benefit, because there are companies, we're not going to name them, corporate style,
Right.
big companies, but there are so many benefits, and you want to support somebody who lives down the street.
Right.
I want to support somebody like you that
Right.
lives down the street, right?
Right.
And that it lives in your community. They're local. They're they might have children that go to school with your kids,
Right.
and there is that personal touch that you're bringing to the industry that seemingly, and I don't want you to take offense to this,
Yeah,
but
no.
it doesn't seem like a real feel-good industry.
No, absolutely
It's
not.
like garbage,
It-
right?
it's not glamorous. By no
No.
means is it glamorous.
Yeah.
And some days, I tell my guys this. I'm like, some days are fantastic. You're working in multi-million-dollar houses. Other days, you're working in, some situations where it's not pretty.
Yeah, hoarding situations and
we
different.
run into those, a couple times a year. We do a lot with different social services to help them out.
Yeah.
And it's situations where, it's not pretty, and the people are so far into it that they can't help themselves. So we try to make it
100%.
easier for them and
Yeah.
really have that empathy.
Without a
what,
doubt.
And you have to, because this is the person's life. This
Yeah.
is what they've been living in, and this is their reality.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that caring feel to you, they're going to shut down, and that's it.
100, without a doubt. I have my master's in social work, and what I
Yep.
say is I bring that to my job every day. Am I your social worker? No, I'm not, right? Like, I'm not, practicing, but I use those skills all the time. And you're so right. It's easy to look at a person's home and be super quick to judge, but we all have
Right.
stuff. It just depends on how, literally we all have stuff, but we also have a lot of emotional stuff going on.
Absolutely. Stuff that you just kept because
Yeah.
it's just there.
Yep. And
know?
and it just comes out differently in different people, right?
Right.
Some people suffer from addiction of whatever form.
Right.
And this is another form.
It's all a way of coping.
It really is. And it is a real problem
It is.
that, I mean, I don't watch a lot of, I'm not an HGTV person. I don't know what about you, but obviously people love it. And I'm like, no, a bathroom doesn't take that long, and that's not realistic.
Right.
So I'm not a big fan in general.
Right.
And I also don't love, I think there is a show called Hoarders. I don't, that's not my kind of television. But to reduce the shame, to
Right.
your point, and to have a company, an owner who is training their people to approach it in a way without judgment,
Right.
is amazing.
They're people.
Yeah,
They're people just like me and you.
100%.
And
Yep,
you never know what someone's going through or what they've been through. It's
without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to start like having these conversations, because if we could reduce the shame more,
Right.
maybe they could get help quicker.
absolutely
Right? Because shame usually prevents people from getting help.
Right. People know what they're dealing with, and they hide it from the outside
Yeah.
world.
And it doesn't matter
No.
socioeconomic class.
None.
Like the
tell you,
nicest of
there's-
neighborhoods, it doesn't money, and that doesn't factor in.
It factors into nothing.
right.
I have walked into places where it's beautiful houses from the outside, and you walk in and they are floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
And then then on the opposite side, small 900 square foot house.
Yep. You're right about that, and it's something that do you have like a pre-screening? Do you know what?
So what I do for any job that's, not just a standard junk removal where I'm
Right.
coming to pick stuff up, any type of clean out, I go and I put eyes on.
Yeah,
Pictures don't do anything justice.
I know.
I go and I walk, I take pictures. This way I know what I'm looking at. I can let my guys know this is what we're going to be dealing with.
Right.
This is what we have, this kind of volume we have. And this way we can also have the right size crew for the job.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than walking onto a job and not being prepared for it.
100, yeah, without a doubt. And mentally, emotionally,
Yes.
yeah. And having the right equipment, frankly.
Absolutely.
Because just because this is your trade, there's a lot of different types of equipment that
Right.
you have.
You don't, and I don't carry everything with me every day.
Right.
You know, there's been houses that I've gone into where the tenants just up and left, and there were 60 plus cats in the house. So it was one of those things where you could smell it from the outside.
Yeah.
And you know, we dressed accordingly in full PPE, top to bottom, and we took care of it. And the homeowner was thrilled it was taken care of. But it's one of those things. If I didn't walk that job, I would have had no idea.
Yeah. And
So,
then you're also collaborating, right? Like our professions
yes.
intersect so much, but like I'm also working with professional organizers and movers, and
Right.
there's so many people that we have to know. So in that situation, was it like the Humane Society? Was it?
Yeah, so the Humane Society actually came in, and the cats weren't fixed. So they were coming in and trapping them, fixing them, and releasing them back out. But it was just,
Yeah.
there was a lot more to it
Right.
at that point than
Yep.
anything else, where there was a lot of people involved. So
Yeah.
it was just a sad situation.
Yeah. 100%. What do you think would surprise a lot of people about what you do? I'm not trying to throw
Yeah,
too many
I'm
trick
trying to
questions.
think.
I know.
I mean, there's so many things because there's no two jobs that are the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every person is different. Every home is different. I think some people wouldn't realize how much volume they can actually have in their house without physically seeing it. Because you look at a house, it could be neat and tidy, but if every cabinet is full and every dresser drawer is full, it adds up quickly.
I say it to every single seller. I need you to start packing. And they look at me, you know, at that point we've had a great relationship, and I'm working with buyers and sellers who love and trust me, right? Like we're in it. We're in this
Right.
relationship, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
Get one box, and I want you to see how quick that gets filled.
Yep.
One box.
It adds up so incredibly quick. And you just find stuff that you don't need, you don't want. You have 3 whisks, and it's just
We don't need it. I can tell you that.
who would know?
And obviously I'm not going to make anybody do anything, right? But encourage sellers and buyers, but sellers to really go through, like, what is serving me?
Right.
Because when do you get that opportunity? Not very often do you get that chance. Yes. Do we all try? I'll speak for myself. I try to go through my clothes, for example, or go through, but not many times do you have to look at every single object in your home, or hire somebody. You could certainly hire somebody to do it for you, but sometimes I've met sellers that have carried boxes from house to house to house. They've never opened the box.
Right.
They don't even frankly know what's in there, but they need it.
Right. And that's what I tell people is if you haven't looked at what's in that box in 6 months to a year, you don't need it.
You don't need it.
Unless it's a family heirloom and you know it's there, you don't need it. You're never going to touch it again if you haven't touched it in the last year.
Yeah. And with digital creation and things like that, you have children?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 2. I have my oldest just turned 6 and my youngest is 3.
Oh my gosh.
So it's fun.
Keeps you busy.
It definitely keeps me busy.
So you get the artwork.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dave and I don't have kids by choice, but I have a lot of little ones in my family, and
Right.
and it's the best part of my life.
Yeah.
So, but the artwork, I mean, I'm getting artwork and I love the artwork,
Right.
but at some point
Yeah.
you can't keep it.
You
So-
wait. You have to wait till they go to bed and just kind of because it's how many piles of stuff are
Well,
you going to
and
have?
with the digital age, though, too, is
Right.
that we have so many other options
Right.
to keep this if you wanted to.
That's right.
Like you could take a picture of it.
Right.
You could, I don't know.
You could take you take a picture and you can upload it to one of those digital frames. This
you.
way, you always have it.
There you go.
There
you go. And there's other things that you could do using technology that can help you to reduce the stuff.
Right.
And have more freedom.
Right.
Sometimes the stuff, the amount of it's emotional heaviness as well.
It is, and that's kind of what we do. When we prepare to walk into a job, I let the guys know, hey, this is kind of what we're dealing with, and that's where the empathy comes in.
Yeah.
Because you are helping the person not just physically unload; it's a
Mhm.
mental unload as well.
Total. And estates.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did one recently. I did the Herman estate
Okay.
up in Salisbury,
Wow.
and I met with the kids, and
Hmm.
it was a lot because it was their family home. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just back
Yeah.
up for the people that I don't ever want to assume, but
Yeah.
What is an estate? Like, what does that even mean? What's the word?
so the estate is a home
Mhm.
where the people have lived, and normally the family has passed, the parents and the kids are left to handle it. And it's normally either an escrow or a lawyer is handling it at that point.
Yep.
So it's normally a large scale
Yeah.
operation because there's multiple people involved.
And that's why the term is used frequently. You'll see like estate sales on
Right.
on websites, even like signs around towns and things like that. But it's person has passed or people have passed in any situation, and there's items left.
Right.
And you're called in to help deal with those items.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in that circumstance, they had already had a couple of estate sales.
Mm.
So everything that was left, the kids kind of already picked through and they didn't want. And it was my job to come in, clear everything else out. And it was going on the market the day after I was done.
There you go.
So it was a large scale operation.
I could only imagine.
We pulled 275 yards out of the house in 3 days
Whoa.
with a crew of 4 guys.
I need a nap just thinking about it.
It was it was a
Wow.
lot. We definitely got our steps in.
Yeah.
We were about 25,000 steps a day,
Wow.
and we all slept pretty well. But it was
Yeah.
very relieving when it was said and done.
And in that as well, all of these, but there needs to be care and attention. You're not
Absolutely.
ripping things out. You can't
No.
damage property. Obviously,
Right.
nobody would, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
you take stuff out. You have to be careful what you're doing.
Right.
And while you're taking stuff out, you're also looking for items the family may have missed. Stuff
Mm.
that, they may think they got everything, but pictures or small family heirlooms, and you show them before you dispose of it, because those things they could have forgotten about, and it pops up, and it was, something that was their parents gave them when they were little, and it means
Yeah.
the world to them.
Oh, sure.
So
And-
there's attention to detail that has to be in there
Well,
as well.
that's what I mean. I can only imagine that there's some people who have jostled something under a desk, and when that thing starts to, when people check the drawer, it looked clean, for
Right.
example, and then all of a sudden you start moving it, and you hear something, or there's a weird key, or
Right.
you never know where people are hiding items, and
That's right.
what could come out. And that's another reason why you want somebody like yourself, your crew, to be there who are taking the time and attention, and you're more than just an account.
Right. Exactly. It's about the person.
Yeah.
It's not about the stuff.
Yeah. I love that. It's true.
It
It's
is.
true. That's how we feel as well. And it's about the relationship.
Right.
And that's why with my buyers, I'm like, we're dating now. Like,
Yeah.
like if you don't know me, like, let's get to know each other
Right.
first, because
Absolutely.
this is a ride.
It's a service business.
Right.
You have to have a relationship. Like, I don't want a one-time customer. I don't.
Yeah.
I want a customer that I'm going to make them smile at the end of it because
Yep.
the job was done better than their expectation, and they're going to go tell their friends.
100%, without a doubt.
Someone that I can run into because, it's the world is big, but the world is small. I want to be able to look customers in the face after and see them in a grocery store and be able to say hi to them,
Yeah.
because I don't want to have to, hide my face.
Right.
Right. We take pride in what we do.
Yeah, and that's not to say, and I don't want to, speak
Right.
for you because I'm not in your business, but it's
Right.
not to say things don't happen.
Absolutely.
When they happen, I think the best we can do, and we can't control others, right? So, but
Right.
the best we can do is try to face it head
Yep.
on, be as honest as possible, and take ownership.
Absolutely. And
and
you
move
try
on.
to make it right. You do what you can,
You do what you can.
and
you do what you
that's all
can.
you can do.
Yeah, 100%. And so you're ugh. Yeah, I tried to say two words in one, and
They
that didn't really
blurred,
work
and that was
out. Mainly, you're operating in the northwest corner.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so as far like your ideal little pocket would be.
So, ideal pocket where we do a lot of our work
Yep.
is Litchfield. So Bantam, Morris, Litchfield, Goshen, up through
Okay.
Salisbury and all that.
So just take a little
Yep.
line in the map
And
and
just kind of draw it up.
nice.
That's where we do the majority of our work.
Okay.
We do travel out. We do jobs, down into Bristol. We do stuff in
Yeah.
Bethlehem. We do stuff up into the lower Berkshires.
Yep.
But that's where,
That's your main everyday.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're there. We're in the communities. You'll see our yard signs all over the place.
And it's great to know, number one, for referrals.
Right.
Because, when I have a transaction,
Right.
I know who to call.
No, and we appreciate it. We try to be as efficient and time sensitive to those things as we can, because we know, especially with closings coming up,
I know.
stuff needs to get done. You can't wait, because-
Unfortunately, too, it's always, not always, I shouldn't say, like in that example of the estate sale, this is what we need to get done
Right.
before we go on the market. So it's not always last minute, but sometimes things come up,
it
and
happens.
it usually does involve your
Right.
the services you provide, because it's usually about stuff.
Yes. And, a lot of times it'll happen on the final walkthrough.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I could attest to that.
Yep.
And I've been on both sides of it too, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean you just thought you could leave? No, we're not just leaving.
It's
yet.
got to go.
Yeah.
The house has to be ready for them.
Yeah. And we're not just talking about inside, right? Do you deal with outside
Outside
stuff?
as well.
Because
we do full property.
yeah.
Full property.
One of the things that I've come up with a lot is that people, for whatever reason, don't want like the big old hot tubs.
Yep.
Okay.
All the time.
You're making a face. So
All the time.
You know.
Hot
yeah.
tubs are fun for the first couple of years,
Yeah.
and then something breaks and they sit there for the next 10.
They usually there's a difference sometimes in people's minds too, of like the freestanding versus the built-in,
Right.
lovely, one that's
Exactly.
attached to the in-ground gunite pool type of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, and sometimes, particularly in my industry, people get a little ick about taking it on.
Right.
Like even if it's fully functional and things like that. So not every buyer wants
Right.
it. So
Right.
that is something else that you can help out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do hot tubs all the time.
Yeah.
If they're on ground level, we try to flip them up on their side and slide them out right into the truck hole if we can. And if they don't cooperate, then we've our best friend, the Sawzall, and we cut it up into quarters or eighths, and we take it away that
My
way.
couch example, that's how it got taken out.
That's right. The
Because
Sawzall fix all.
Is that a trade? We have to
That-
trademark. You have to trademark that. I like
I
it.
might.
I like it. No, but it has to be your best friend.
It is. It is. It makes everything fit. It makes everything fit.
Well, how those things have to be, some have to be super heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. They, it all depends how well they're built and
Yeah.
how many jets there are.
Oh,
So I normally base my pricing off how many seats, because
Huh.
the more seats, the more jets,
right. Yeah.
the bigger it
The
is.
heavier. Yeah.
So yeah, we do everything from, we'll take down old sheds, we'll do hot tubs. I think
Sometimes like those playscapes.
the playscapes, we take those down as well.
Yeah.
Anything outside, we can take care of.
Nice.
We've done, I think the biggest property cleanup we ever did, we did an old farm in Sharon. And there was tires and
Wow.
old farm equipment out in the fields, and it all had to go before the buyer would accept the property.
Yeah.
So we spent about a week there finding everything out in the fields and pulling it out and hauling it
Wow.
out.
And that old machinery and the old.
It was heavy. It was heavy, but it was, we got to work outside. It was 75, 80 degrees, sunny every day, and it was great. We got to hang out outside.
Yeah.
But it was a project for sure.
Oh, I can only imagine. And just like seeing this stuff, I mean, probably hard sometimes to focus on like not the stuff, the
Yeah.
actual getting it out, because I'd be like, oh my God, look at this.
Right.
This is so
Like
cool.
I found an old manure spreader.
Wow.
It was the trees had engulfed it, and it was just
Yeah.
out in the field somewhere, and it was
Wow.
it was cool.
The things you must see.
It's
Yeah.
and I can never explain to people exactly what I do, so I take befores and afters of everything.
That's a great
Befores,
way.
afters, walkthroughs, because
Yeah.
you remove garbage, yeah, but look at this place before
Right.
and look at it now.
Yep. I have people I work with that are home organizers,
Yeah.
and that's the best way they can do it as well.
Right.
It's just like see it and believe it.
You have to. There's no way to properly explain what you do without showing it.
Yeah. And no day is different.
No, it's every person's different. Every house is different. It's just it's never the same. It keeps you on your toes.
And you're also working with homeowners,
Homeowners, contractors, property
realtors.
managers.
Yeah.
No, everyone has a need, and we're there to help.
Love it. I absolutely love it. I so thank you for coming in and taking the time to chat with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
One quick
Sure.
end question.
Sure.
I think we're good on time. What's your favorite part of your home?
Favorite part of my home is, I love my living room. I really do.
Mm,
We have a big bay window, and we
natural
have
light.
a wood burning insert in the fireplace, and the kids love to play in there, and it's just
Mm.
it's
The
our
hangout
it's our
space.
spot.
I love that.
It's our spot. It's where everyone comes together, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Movie time and relax
Movie time,
and
the dog's on the couch, and it's just
nice.
it's our spot.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I wish you nothing but continued success. And we need to work together.
I
Yeah?
think we do. We can make that happen.
I love it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Appreciate it.